Oh, I see that we're live on X.
Nice.
I'm in. Good morning, everybody. Monday morning from Asia.
Yep. All right, we're gonna do the weekly recap here in a moment.
Did you
Checking the other
see?
platforms.
Good afternoon. Where are you from, Sutter? Good afternoon from where? Seika. Morning. Did you see Neil's post this morning,
Wyoming.
Graham?
No, I did not.
He was putting out some Ethereum hopium.
Oh,
And I thought that I haven't seen that in quite a while. So, Neil, if you're listening, what's up with that? Do you know his handle? Because perhaps
no.
we could discuss Ethereum in the pre for the pre-show question. How you
What's the
feeling about?
hopium?
Oh, just that. I think his post was pretty wild. It was basically like Ethereum will go to 10,000 before the end of the year or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to Neil BTC, you can see it. Here we go. 10,000 10,000 ETH by EOY. Do you agree?
That's it? That's the post?
Well, and then there's a graph.
Oh,
Yeah, he
okay.
posts a graph that's I think the first sin is that it's a logarithmic graph, which apparently by um, a lot of people don't necessarily think that logarithmic graphs are particularly useful, but he's doing some graph astrology here, showing a potential run up to 10K by end of year.
Hmm. Hmm.
You seeing this?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
What are your thoughts?
Well, the chart looks good.
uh,
Yeah.
Somebody I was
Um,
listening to. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, if I think if ETH goes to 10K, then we're all gonna make it, no matter
And you
what you're
have to
holding.
think if ETH goes to 10K, what is Bitcoin at that point, right?
Yeah. And what is Solana at, and Sui, and Hype, and everything else.
Yeah.
Because I really find it hard to believe that ETH is going to be the fastest horse in this race.
For this
I don't
cycle, I
think that.
agree.
Yeah, I don't think they've changed anything materially. I think this all of the same issues are there with the parasitic L2s, um, the slow development cycle, the lack of value actually accruing to the token from economic activity on the chain. None of those things have really been solved, and there's no like immediate path for them to be solved. So I just don't see how it catches like the narrative to be the fastest horse.
Yeah. Also, I think ETH leadership is kind of still undergoing a transition from a more passive, maybe a more passive voice to having people like Mert or what's his name? You did an engagement post on him. Slipping my mind. Anyway, yeah, I don't see that changing. And but the other side though is that I don't know if you saw Hasu had a post about this about I don't know a month and a half ago maybe. Who he's clearly an ETH bull, and in the
ETH
post
bag holder. Yeah.
ETH bag holder. Um, he basically said that your dog agrees with me.
Dogs barking. Hey, come.
He basically
Yeah, go
said
on.
that he basically said that uh, the the reason that there weren't any good reasons for ETH to go down, right?
Uh huh.
People were just selling ETH for no good reason, and he said at some point in the future ETH will start to go up again, and it will be exactly the same. There
For
won't
no
be
good
good
reason.
reasons, you know.
Yeah.
So he said that he won't be surprised if it goes up much higher, if it goes up high much faster, um, and people will be on podcasts like this or
Yeah.
in the comments, and they'll make up reasons, but ultimately most people are not trading on some kind of like intrinsic or true value or something like that. So
Yeah, and no, that makes sense. And like, what is the most hated trade? Like, that's the one that, like, what is the least consensus thing is often the thing that pumps the most. Um, so, yeah, I'll be over here like cringing, like, because I'm not really holding any. I have a few NFTs. Linzard says this man lacks faith. I think he's referring to me. Just
shout
spewing
out
the
to,
uh, the
yeah,
typical the typical anti ETH talking points. So
trust the vit.
trust the vit, yeah. Trust the
Is that
money
Vitalik's?
skeleton.
Is that Vitalik's new name? Vit.
The vit.
I love it. Yeah. I do
All right,
have
let's
some
yeah.
moderate ETH bags still, and like you, I have some NFTs. I hold one or two meme coins as well. So um, presumably, if ETH um, moons, I'll be not completely out of position, and so I'll have some benefit from it. But yeah, like you, I'm mostly in other things. So
Yeah. Well, psychologically, you want to have at least a little bit of the ones that are running, because then you're not like hating it so much when they do run.
yeah, I love.
That's how I like to position my portfolio.
Do you know Thinking USD, right? The
No.
the super hyper liquid bull. He made the in silico trading platform. No,
No.
he's been a uh, massive hater of um of ETH for a long time, and I just love. Let me see. Just hold on. Let's see if I can get it. I just love some of his takes on ETH. Very, I would say, I can't really repeat them because they're kind of uh, they're not PC. They're but anyway, if you wanna hear some funny ETH hate, go look up Flood or Thinking USD, and he's got
Oh yeah, I know that
some
guy. Yeah.
bangers. He's got some bangers about ETH and how shit it is, which I don't know, I love it.
No, let's hear one. If you've got it up.
Um, okay, so this is not me, by the way. I didn't write this, but one of his all time bangers, mega troll tweets was, "I just sold the last of my ETH. I can feel the gayness leaving my body."
I think I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit harsh.
It's harsh. It's harsh. And I think was it somebody? Is it like Pride Month starting soon or something like that? I think when it was Pride Month, people were retweeting this Floods post to that all through that month. It was so funny. Anyway, he's
All right,
trolling. He's trolling, of course.
let's get to the weekly.
Okay.
Let's do this thing. Okay, welcome back to the weekly Bitcoin.com's no nonsense roundup of what actually mattered in crypto. I'm Graham Stone here with David Sensel, and this week we are once again tracking a new wave of Bitcoin treasury moves from meme stocks to mega cities. And we are also zooming in on a growing trend that is rather dark, which is the rise of crypto fueled abductions across multiple continents. Before we get into it, please make sure to subscribe to David's weekly newsletter at Bitcoin.com/newsletters for the sharpest 5 minutes per week signal in a very noisy space. All right, David, let's get into it.
Okay, first stop is GameStop's Bitcoin pivot. Um, GameStop bought 4,710 Bitcoin, fueling GME shares surge. It then actually crashed afterwards, or not crashed, but it went down afterwards. So GameStop had been kind of hinting that they were going to do this for quite a bit of time, but they finally did do it. They bought 4,710 Bitcoin, which is now worth over $500 million. Um, the move follows a March investment policy update allowing crypto allocations, and it is backed by a 1.3 billion capital raise, presumably to deepen Bitcoin strategy, but also maybe whatever else they have planned to do. Um, this GME, as everyone will know, is the progenitor of the meme stock uh, frenzy or what do you say, strategy. And so the fact that they're getting into Bitcoin kind of seems appropriate, I would say. They're following in the footsteps of Saylor's strategy and the MetaPlanet playbook as well.
Yeah, I think one notable point here though is that the stock actually it didn't pump. It fell basically on the news. It's not doing well, and I think that is kind of indicative of well, so like GameStop, it's a meme stock, and it's just like with crypto projects, meme coins that they try to like tie some revenue to the meme coin, and then when that happens, it's actually bearish because no longer is it about imagination. It's now about actual like revenue, and I think that could be what's happening here with GME.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You saying this reminds me of that show. What was it called? Silicon Valley, right? You know, like
Right,
you,
yeah.
right? You don't want to, you don't want to be you don't want to have show revenue, right? Because then you're going to be tied to that, and you want to be pre-revenue, so you can be much bigger. There
Yeah,
is some truth to that for 100%. Um,
yeah,
Again, as we've talked about on this show and others, Graham, this shows that pretty much everyone and their mother is getting into the putting Bitcoin on your balance sheet game.
yeah,
And here you have GameStop doing it.
yeah. So let's go over to MetaPlanet, which obviously that's the Japanese strategy clone. And they just announced a $50 million issuance of ordinary bonds for more Bitcoin acquisition. So these are 0% bonds, meaning you don't get any upside on the bond itself if you're an investor in it. Now, MetaPlanet already holds 7,800 BTC. So this $50 million will be to purchase more on top of that.
Pretty crazy stuff. I think the first thing I would say is that um, this might make sense than a lot of the BTC Treasury copycats, just because it's in the Japanese market, which doesn't really have good access to local spot Bitcoin, um, and so local firms and or investors can use MetaPlanet, I think, in a lot smarter way than in the U.S., which has a lot of options for this.
Yeah. And then just on the zero interest bonds point, as mentioned by Andre on our Token Narratives podcast a few weeks ago, his prediction is that so they started out with the bonds for these Bitcoin purchases paying some amount of interest, right? And it's a race to the bottom. And currently we're at 0% for the Metaplanet bond. And Andre's prediction, which I think is seems to be playing out here, the final phase is that the bonds will actually have a negative interest rate, meaning you'll be paying to get access to that equity, which of course is ostensibly access to Bitcoin exposure itself. But that will signal perhaps the final phase of this
Hmm. Yep.
when the bonds go to the negative interest. Yeah,
Yeah. I remember him saying that and thinking that we had quite a bit more time for that final phase to come about if it does come about, which I think there is a pretty good chance it will. But seeing that we're already in this kind of middle phase, you're now at 0%. I mean, I don't know, Graham. This could be right around the corner. This could be, and then also you think about the pace at which all these copycats are proliferating. Man, you really could see the negative bond coming quite soon. So I don't know. Pretty interesting, but also something really to watch for. I think it'll be
definitely.
important.
I mean, either way though, like if they're actually able to raise money, whether the bonds are zero interest rate or negative interest rates, they're actually able to raise money. What that's going to mean is buy pressure on Bitcoin. So it doesn't mean we're at the top now, but it's just adding to the bucket of call it risk, like not like reflexive risk on the downside. So when
Yeah,
yeah, when the price does finally start to fall, there's going to be a reflexive sell off because these Bitcoin treasury companies are going to be underwater and they're going to have to sell in order to like not liquidate their company.
yeah. Also, I would just say that why would the bonds go negative? Or I think what you would see is if you start seeing the price of Bitcoin going up a lot, um, that's gonna FOMO a lot of investors, and then they will be willing to take a negative bond, negative interest rate bond. And so to me, that's exactly when you would see this happening is the price of Bitcoin starts to kind of have that parabolic move up, and people want to FOMO in, and then there's a lot of people just throwing their money uh, to try to get in. So um,
Yep.
I think that's what would likely happen. All right,
All right, let's move
so
on to the next story.
yeah, right. This is not only happening with private firms buying Bitcoin, as we've talked about, it's going on with governments and other kind of public related institutions. Here we have New York Mayor Eric Adams. He proposed Bitcoin bonds at Bitcoin 2025, the conference I was at last week. So at the Vegas Bitcoin conference, the New York mayor proposed issuing Bitcoin backed municipal bonds, um, reinforcing his push to make New York City the global crypto capital. Um, Again, I think this is probably an okay thing to do, at least from a publicity standpoint for New York City. New York and State and New York City, I think, have been on the wrong side of crypto for a bit of time. And anything to kind of change that public image is a good thing. Um, the Bitcoin backed municipal investment vehicles, as they're called, is still vague, but I hope that they go through with it at least in some amount with some amount of money. Again, just to kind of show that New York is no longer this anti-crypto place.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, just like New York City is proposing something like this, it's effectively sovereign grade BTC collateral. And, this could catch on. And if it does, it's just more net buy pressure for Bitcoin and more institutional acceptance of it as a form of collateral. So pretty bullish.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
All right. So, in case you missed it, Trump Media raised $2.3 billion for a Bitcoin treasury move. And the majority of the money is to purchase Bitcoin. So this would make the Trump affiliated firm, one of the largest public holders of BTC in the US. There are a few things to consider here. Obviously, this company isn't directly associated with Trump, but that doesn't stop the haters, the political haters, from calling foul on this. So it's Bitcoin is becoming political. I mean, it long has been political, but this is sort of taking it to the next level. Another checkbox
Yeah,
on that theme. Yeah.
it's definitely giving fuel to, I would say, the Democratic Party, liberals in general, who are worried about Trump and his family kind of putting their tendrils all through crypto. Um, Also, you have these strategic custody partners that are lining up through all these different various projects, whether it's through World Liberty Financial, um, their USD1 stablecoin, um, or in this case, Crypto.com and Anchorage, who are the custody partners for this current offering. Um, And so, yeah, as you say, it's political. It's giving some ammunition to the other side, but I think net it's a positive for crypto in the industry, and I don't know. I don't see it. I get the concerns, and the optics might look bad from some perspectives. I just don't see it as a overall bad thing.
Well, yeah, and I mean, come on. 3 years ago, could you imagine a headline like this? I don't think in your wildest dreams, you could imagine something like this. And it's just like day after day, we're seeing these types of developments. New York City like talking about issuing BTC bonds. The president of the United States, ostensibly his company, investing in BTC on their treasury.
Yeah,
And
100%.
it's not just companies; it's also at the country level, which leads us to our next story.
Yeah, that's right. So here we have Panama is accelerating the Bitcoin adoption with bank accounts, maybe canal payments, and maybe reserve plans. So Panama City Mayor Mizrachi announced plans to integrate Bitcoin into the national banking system, and then also talked about ideas of accepting Bitcoin as payments for passing through the Panama Canal. Um, and finally, as we've reported here before, perhaps a strategic reserve is in the works. So the one thing that's concrete is the first Caja de Ahorros, which is the second largest bank there, I believe, is going to offer Bitcoin savings accounts. This is I think, a pretty good idea, and it's big for Latin American adoption. It allows people to get access to Bitcoin and in a savings vehicle, which I think is a smart way to do it.
Yeah,
Um,
and I mean, the Panama City mayor is looks like he's like setting himself up to be the next Bukele, like trying to turn Panama into something akin to what El Salvador has done, make Panama friendly for Bitcoin. It's just you could be cynical and argue that this is just like it's marketing for the country, try to attract some of that attention, some of the wealth of people holding Bitcoin. But or you could argue that he actually believes that Bitcoin is going to be positive for the country, like as a or the city and the country as a savings vehicle.
yeah, and it's probably a mix of both, right? Like I imagine politicians are motivated in certain ways, well, certain how do you say, certain ways that help themselves, but they also notice that these things work and they do well, And so, yeah, I think it's probably a bit of both. Um,
Yeah, I mean, one idea that he floated was using Bitcoin as a payment rail for the Panama Canal. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me, but on the other hand, it's kind of a geopolitical signal. Like, hey, we want to accept this neutral currency. You know, maybe you could argue that that's like appeasing the Chinese on the one side. Well, it's like a compromise between the Americans and the Chinese. Like, okay, let's not use dollars or yuan for payment. Let's use Bitcoin.
that's interesting. Okay, I could see that. I mean, then the Chinese would have to they'd have to overtly get a hold of Bitcoin, which I think they still, at least on the surface, are kind of against. But anyway, yeah, yeah, yeah. I can get behind that. So what does all this mean for me? Everything that we've just spent the past 10 minutes talking about, um, it really does show you week in week out how bullish it is, and not just in a hypothetical way. How bullish things are for Bitcoin in particular and crypto in general. However, I don't know if you've noticed this, Graham, but at least for me, on the timeline and news segments and everything, people are just in our industry and holders of Bitcoin and crypto. They don't seem very euphoric. You know, they're just kind of humming along, maybe even saying like "win bull run," you know, and
Yeah,
this kind of news is, as you said, could you imagine this 3 years ago? It's mind blowing. And here we are sitting near all time highs. I would say consolidating underneath all time highs with this week in, week out great news. And we're
yeah,
all just kind of like, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's
Well,
right.
for me at least, I would put it down to just my cynicism after having seen like the the hype and the frankly lies over the last couple of cycles. And so when I see this news come out, I'm always like skeptical, right? And I think a lot of people are like that. But the other part of it, of course, is that, like a lot of the people in the crypto industry are just not maybe as allocated to Bitcoin as they'd like to be. They're hoping for the next altcoin run.
Yeah. I also think there might be something about how the news that's coming out now is not correlated really well with the price, as in as in maybe the price hasn't reflected the reality of this news yet. You know what I'm talking about? And
Yeah.
if the price were much higher or a bit higher, the news would kind of hit a little more because you'd have this kind of matching the news with the price. And so
Yeah.
again, not trying to be overly bullish here, but um, yeah, I mean this is like good news, and
Well,
it does.
yeah, as to your point, as Linzer just noted in the comments of for the video, he says it's all retail's out of the picture right now. So
Yeah, that's right.
this news, you're not like in previous cycles when Elon Musk said Tesla's going to hold Bitcoin, the price like jumped like 30%. Now you're getting arguably, actually,
The president of the United
factually
States buying
factually
Bitcoin.
much more bullish news than that, and the price barely moves. And I
Yeah,
think this is an indication that the hype is gone. There's not really any retail hype, so the price is just grinding up by like slow institutional long-term purchases. So yeah, I mean
yeah.
that's a further reason to yeah, sell your put that third mortgage on the house, lever up. No, don't do that.
Take a loan out on your dental business to become the first
Yes,
dentist
yes,
billionaire, as
yes.
Sailor said.
See, exactly.
But just finally on this one last point on this, you said that the hype is gone. I would modify that a little bit and say largely retail is gone, or
Yeah,
and put it another way, retail hasn't really come in yet, right?
yeah,
I feel like it's just been people who have already been in crypto for a while who are
Yeah.
who have been buying crypto, and then the real marginal buyer this cycle has been the institutions, right?
Yeah, I think retail just got so irritated with all the crypto bros over the last decade that now they're just like, forget about it. I don't care. I'm out. Like, don't tell me about Bitcoin. Uh,
Do you do you remember that chart? You remember that chart I put up last year, where it was like women rank the least
yes.
attractive the least attractive hobbies, and
Yeah.
Bitcoin was number two, the number two
Yeah.
least attractive hobby. What's it called? There was like Magic the Gathering and doing
Yeah. Was more
magic
attractive.
tricks.
Magic the Gathering was more attractive than being a crypto bro, I believe. Collecting Pokemon, that's
Yeah,
like
that's right.
totally,
Yeah, yeah,
totally fine.
yeah. So I mean, that's where we are, folks. That's where we are.
All right. Let's move on to the dark side of what's happening here because as we've seen the price of crypto assets go up a lot, we're also seeing in tandem a rise in kidnappings. So the latest one was that a Russian couple was kidnapped in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, after being lured to dinner by two Chechens.
Jesus.
So that's the kind of rebel territory in Russia, I believe.
It sounds like the
Now,
beginning of a movie description.
yeah, they were tied up and held hostage until a $43,000 ransom paid in cryptocurrency was transferred by a friend. And after escaping and calling for help, they were rescued by police. But the kidnappers fled to, you guessed it, UAE, prompting an Interpol hunt. So they're on the lam. 43,000 was paid. Looks like nobody was hurt, but yeah, another crypto related kidnapping.
Terrible. All right, so there have been a bunch of kidnappings or problems in France, but luckily, France has charged 25 over violent crypto attacks linked to kidnapping plots. French authorities charged 25 people, including six miners, Bitcoin miners, in a series of coordinated kidnapping attempts targeting crypto entrepreneurs. They weren't
No, it
crypto
wasn't
miners.
Bitcoin miners.
I know, it was
It
a
was
joke. That was a joke.
okay. Sorry, I fell for it.
You fell
Go
for
on.
it? No, no.
Classic.
Oh, it's hilarious. Um, One failed attack involved the family of Paymium CEO Pierre Noisat. Can't read this right. The attackers, motivated by fast crypto payouts, filmed the assault in Paris, and a second kidnap was foiled near, I don't know, I'm not going to even try to pronounce it, Nantes. So, again, France, for some reason, a hotbed for crypto violence, kidnapping slash extortion uh, attacks. But it looks like the authorities are making progress on prosecuting these people.
Yeah, and then in New York, in Manhattan, a 28-year-old Italian tourist was held captive for more than a week in an apartment there before he managed to escape and alerted a traffic officer. Two suspects, John Woltz, who is a crypto investor, there you go, crypto bro, and Beatrice Fulci were arrested and charged with kidnapping, assault, and unlawful imprisonment. And the last one,
Yeah. All
Uganda.
right. Yeah, we're in Uganda now. A Ugandan crypto educator was abducted, but the suspect has been traced through blockchain forensics. Crypto educator Festo Ivaibi was kidnapped by a military linked gang in Uganda. Over 500K US in crypto was stolen from him in his project's treasury. One suspect was arrested after stolen funds were traced to a verified wallet on a centralized exchange. Um, and the important thing here is that blockchain forensic companies were used to help crack the case. Boy, oh boy, Graham.
Yeah, it's not just cybercrime anymore in the crypto space. Public facing people who are known to be holding crypto are increasingly being viewed as targets. And it looks like kidnapping is the attack method of choice. You kidnap them, you hold them hostage, you wait till they make the payout, and you try to escape.
Yeah.
So I don't know
From
about you, David, but I'm considering just doing this podcast from now on with a big blur over my face.
well, I think we're probably safe because everybody knows that we're on this podcast, so that we means we must be poor, right?
That's right,
I think
exactly.
I don't think any
Yeah,
of these people who were assaulted and or kidnapped are on podcasts, and we're obviously we're like the what's it called, blue collar crypto workers here in the trenches, um, dancing for those engagement views.
that's right.
But
Yeah,
just to tie back to what we were talking about earlier with the fact that retail isn't here, and that this is institutionally led, I would say, kind of in a macabre way, one sign of kind of crypto or Bitcoin's rising importance or rising mind share in just the public is the fact that these wrench attacks are on the rise. Right, the number of
yeah.
these attacks is just
Good
going
point.
up and up and up, and it does mean to some degree, like just the ambient level of acceptance and or knowledge that Bitcoin and crypto equals money,
Money. Yeah.
yeah, is rising.
And
So
if
I
you're
mean,
associated with that, you're a target. David, I wanted to ask you when you were in Vegas, did you notice anything security wise? Like, was there a large amount of security there? Was it low key?
well, so there was two things. There was a lot of politicians at this particular event, a lot of U.S. politicians, and so we just saw like, I saw what's it called, escorts of like police cars
Yeah.
around the center a lot, right? You'd see
Yeah.
like five blacked out giant American sized SUVs with flashing lights, and then some heavy looking limo sandwiched in
Yeah.
between them quite often. However, I will say this: so um, I saw in a lot of X comments during the conference that people were getting attacked, cyber attacked, out on the conference floor. So, like for example, one gentleman said directly to Bitcoin Incorporated CEO David Bailey, like he used what's it called, a an outlet, a USB outlet in a special room, and it that outlet um, hijacked his phone and tried to break into his Coinbase account that was connected to his phone.
Man, that's some Mission Impossible Tom Cruise stuff right there.
Yeah. So
Like,
several things like that apparently were happening. Apparently, I saw some tweets that said that were warning people like, do not use any of the free Wi-Fi hotspots that were set up around the conference. Those were honeypots. They're trying to inject scripts into your web browsing to remove funds. So I mean, yeah, it was apparently there was a lot of people trying to extract money and or info from
yeah,
conference goers.
that's concerning.
Yeah,
So they're taking more of the hacker approach rather than the $5 wrench attack approach,
yeah,
which I think does make sense actually,
yeah,
considering that with at a conference like this with all these politicians, there's just going to be security everywhere. So maybe not the best place to like carry out a $5 wrench attack.
yeah. I also
Yeah.
saw before the conference started, just in and around the area, I did see, I don't know, maybe about a dozen people walking around with like crypto shirts on, and every single time I pointed it out to my colleagues and be like, that is a bad move. So this is like at night on the
Uh,
strip, 8, 9,
yeah.
10 p.m. And you're wearing a
Yeah.
shirt that says something like "Hodl forever" with a big
Yeah.
Bitcoin So I'm just like, what the hell are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Yeah.
This is not the right move to be making. I felt like.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was
Yeah, maybe hold off on your ETH tattoos for now,
yeah. And
guys.
this kind of ties back into the story though, which is there does need to be a shift in crypto culture to, I would say, in person, hide the fact that you are related to or holding crypto, right? And all the people that I saw who were walking around with that kind of gear on, they were, for lack of a better term, or they looked like, for a lack of a better term, nerds, right? They're very nerdy, you know, and they were just kind of proud, I guess, of their projects or whatever. But I think this is going to be something that I'm trying to bring to the public's attention, crypto public's attention, is that you need to be we need to stop wearing this kind of stuff in public. You know,
Yeah. Well, it's
just
unfortunate because you want to be able to advertise, market your project if you're involved with it. But yeah, it's a sad reality, I guess. All right, let's wrap it up there. That's it for this week. So whether you're stacking sats or just trying to stay safe from those $5 wrench attacks, remember, crypto never sleeps, and neither do we. So catch you next time on the weekly, and we're out.